So good day, class. So before we start our class for today, let's begin this with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Morning once again, class. So before we formally start with our discussion, let us play first. So our play for today is Guess the Word. So I have here flashcards, and you will guess what word is inside of the flashcard. Alright? Alright. So the first word is, okay, this. Can you guess what word is this? Alright, very good. This is the word first aid. Alright. Next is, what word is this? Alright, very good. This is the word safety. Alright, next. Yes, the word is injuries. Alright. Next is the word wound. Alright, wound. This, wound. So, who among you here have experienced wounds or samad? Nosebleed or kanang sungguhon? Or kanang animal bites like gipaakbaron mo sa iro or sa iring? Raise your hands. Alright, so all of us have experienced those injuries. So what are you going to do if you will experience that common injuries? Yes, atong tambalan. So mo na siya gitawag og first aid. So what is first aid? So first aid is a vital for saving lives. A person can carry out first aid for a life-threatening incident or injury before the arrival of emergency services. So it is important to give a first aid before the person is rescued by a professional medical. So let's proceed to the nature of first aid. So the nature of first aid is the immediate care given to a person who is injured or suddenly became ill. So that is the nature of first aid. Let's proceed to the objectives of the first aid. So the objectives of the first aid is to prolong life, to lessen the pain or to alleviate the pain, to prevent further injury, para ma-prevent pa jud ang further injury. It is important no to give first aid para ma-prevent pa ang lain na pud nga injury. So next is importance of first aid. So the importance of first aid is to help yourself. Of course, to help yourself. If you know the first aid or the basic first aid, you must masamad ka. So kay bawang ka sa basic first aid, matabangan nimo imuhang self nga matambalan. To help others, so if naabari ka ng tabangunon, so makahibaw na ka, kaya nakahibaw na ka sa first aid, so makatabang na ka sa usa ka tawo. And to prepare for disaster. So, to prepare for disaster. If naay mga risk or mga disaster, you are prepared because you are knowledgeable enough. So, let's proceed. What's inside of the first aid kit? So, unsa kay sulod ang mga first aid kit? So, these are the inside of the first aid kit. So, first, this, diba? Betadine. Very common, betadine. Next is this, ointment or antiseptic ointment. Next is this, of course, very common gihapon, alcohol or rubbing alcohol. Next is this. So what is this? Can you guess what is this? Di na siya ballpen ha? This is pen light. Yes, pen light. Next is this. So these are the inside of the first aid kit. So we have here gauze roll pads, instant cold pack, elastic bandages, emergency blanket, antiseptic wipes, scissors, tweezers, emergency contact information, napo ni siya, di ba? Gloves, first aid manual, adhesive tape, safety pins, and the last is thermometer. So these are the inside of the first aid kit. Alright? Alright. So now, let's proceed to common injuries. Yes, these are the common injuries. So this is a wound, no? So all of us have experienced this sa mud. So kita tanan no naka-experience gid ta og wounds. So next is this, nosebleed. So napoy naka-experience direk nosebleed? Yes, nasad. Next is this, unsa man ni siya? Kisay nakasuway diri gipak sa iro. Oh, yes, this is animal bite. Next is burns or hilos. And the last one is sprain or bali. No? So, these are the common injuries. Alright? Understood? Alright. Are the basic first aid of the common injuries like wounds, nosebleeds, animal bites, burns, and sprains. So let's start with the wounds. So what is the first aid of wounds? So cover the wound temporarily with a clean piece of gauze pad. So you may use this. So imong tabunan ani ang wound temporarily. After, wash your hand with soap and water. Then, use gloves. So gloves, this. You may use this. Dayon, lightly rinse the wound with cold running water. Use antiseptic using cotton to clean the surrounding areas. Let it dry and cover it with a sterile dressing. Let's proceed to the nosebleed. What is the first aid of nosebleed? So, have the person who has a nosebleed, then sit with the head bent slightly forward. After, tell the person to breathe through the mouth. Then, pinch the nose just the below of the bridge for 10 minutes. After, if the bleeding stops, release the pressure and clean the nose and mouth with clean water. So, let's proceed to animal bite. So with animal bite, thoroughly wash the wound with soap and warm water. Put it dry with a sterile dressing. After, take the person to the nearest hospital. So that is the basic first aid of animal bite. Let's proceed with the burns or kanang hilos. What is the first aid of burns? So that is simple. Hold the injury under cold running water for at least 10 minutes. Remove everything tight near the wound. Cover the injury with a clean and dry dressing. So the last one is sprain. What is the basic first aid of sprain? So that is simple. Nara na ang method nga RISE. So what is the meaning of the method RISE? So R is for rest, I is for ice, C is for compress, and E is for elevate. So moro na siya ang method or basic first aid for sprain. Just keep in mind, class, that first aid is emergency given care immediately to an injured person. The purpose of first aid is to minimize injury and future disability. In serious cases, first aid may be necessary to keep the victim alive. So that is first aid, the importance of first aid. For your activity for today is a role playing. So I will group you into two groups. So what are you going to do is, I will give you a scenario. The first scenario for the group 1 is a bicycle accident. So you will perform what first aid will you be given to that person. So the second scenario for the group 2 is a person who has a nosebleed. So you will perform what first aid will be given to the person who has a nosebleed. So for your assignment, list down what are the available first aid in your home. Write it in your notebook and pass it tomorrow. Understand? Alright, so that's it for today, class. Thank you for listening and have a good day.